Unreal Engine. We're going to talk about it again. Super impressed with it. Here's an Asmongold video from his stream talking about Unreal Engine 5.4 is unreal. The future is here. Let's check it out.
Hey everyone, Unreal Engine 5.4 is here. Check some of the highlights. First up, UE 5.4 has powerful new tools for setting up and animating characters directly in the editor. With Modular Control Rig, you can build animation rigs from understandable parts instead of complex granular graphs. Here you can see us setting up a leg in just a few steps. Automatic retargeting makes it faster and easier to get great results when using bipedal character animation of known skeletal types. The skeleton editor is now more performant and offers
you can
more
see like the lines
functionality.
and shit, right? How it moves around, like the shoulder bones even.
There's also a suite of new functions that make the deformer graph more accessible. For animation authoring, we focused on making our tools more intuitive and robust while streamlining workflows.
Oh my god.
Case in point, animation-friendly gizmos means you can quickly and easily pose characters using just the middle mouse button. And finally, Sequencer gets a significant makeover with better readability and
I find it like it's crazy to see how like people can make stuff with this, but what's even more crazy for me is to see how somebody was able to make this tool. Like I can't even like comprehend like what it would involve in order to make a tool like this.
Yeah,
it's like
coding.
so obviously like and easily intuitive. This would be so good for AA games. Yeah, this is what I was saying, right? Like I made a video about this and I talked about how there's a lot of games now that look really good, but they're bad games.
improved usability.
he's right about that.
I think
including a
Unreal
new
5
layer
kind of allows
control
that to
rigs
happen.
Feature.
It also allows for people who are really good with it to make fantastic games, but you're going to find a lot of trash, you know what I mean, where they look good, but like playability is not there, right? But like the people that are actually quite good at this, which I know, which I talk to, are telling me like it is completely amazing and easy to use. It cuts down production time by at least half, if not more. These are what the devs are telling me, the ones that know what the fuck they're doing with it.
Motion matching is now more robust, performant,
Jesus.
and memory scalable. Now production ready, this toolkit is
Yeah, that's
used
all I
to
ever
select
hear,
and
man,
transition
style.
animation
Yep.
clips at runtime by searching a database of captured animation,
Oh my god.
using the current motion information of the character in the game as the key. There's also a suite of debugging tools that gives visibility into its inner workings.
This is just fucking insane to me, man. You would need a NASA computer for anything made with this? Do you know what's so crazy about that? Is the fact that you're totally wrong.
Yeah,
That's
not
what's
right.
so crazy. That's probably like, I mean, everything about, like, before Unreal 5, you had a lot of games that's...
This is the thing. This is how many people don't understand, you know, Unreal and how the ease of use, and it doesn't take a lot. Like there's a lot of misinformation out there. People just don't get it. Like it's here. It's here right now. Like it is actually here right now. There needs to be some tweaking still, but like the impossible that a lot of devs, designers were contending with 5+ years ago aren't problems anymore.
still had really photorealistic graphics. But the one thing that was like a massive update with it
yes,
was the
Maximus.
fact that the performance was
is.
just incredible.
It is,
Because, yeah, that was the
Calamity. What's
case
up,
for
Calamity?
like
Good to see
15
you.
years.
We've invested significant effort into improving rendering performance in
Yeah,
UE
DLSS,
5.4.
yeah, exactly.
This includes refactoring the systems to enable a greater degree of parallelization,
We do,
adding
Stunner, we
GPU
do.
instance culling to hardware ray tracing,
Stunner says we have
optimizing
better
shader compilation,
Gamers
and
have
more.
better computers than NASA.
Nanite continues to receive enhancements, starting with a new tessellation feature that enables fine details, such as cracks and bumps,
Oh, we're glad to have
be
you back
added
here,
at render
Calamity.
time
Welcome home, bro.
without altering the original mesh. Plus, the addition of software variable rate shading via Nanite compute materials brings substantial performance gains.
I think one thing to me is like, now that I see this happen, I become less and
I
less
agree with you,
impressed
Hugh.
by
I actually agree
graphics
with
because
you,
of just how easy it is to achieve something that's of this high quality. I think a good example of this is like the day before, where like the game looked visually pretty appealing, but it was just a terrible game.
Temporal Super Resolution has received stability and performance enhancements to ensure
lot of games have
predictable
good graphics,
output
but are garbage nowadays,
regardless
yeah.
of the target platform. And finally, Movie Render Graph, a major update to the Movie Render queue, enables you to set up render layers
we
with a
watched it last
node-based
week,
architecture.
Fluid flux.
Next up, UE 5.4 introduces a
Water
new
physics.
motion design
It
mode
was
that's
phenomenal.
been developed in conjunction with leading broadcasters. It's equipped with specialized tools for authoring complex 2D motion graphics, including 3D shapes, cloners, effectors, modifiers, animators, and more. In this release, the virtual camera tool is now supported on Android as well as iOS. VCam workflows are also now fully supported in Unreal Engine on macOS. On the VR scouting front, we've introduced a new...
This is nuts, man. Like, I think this stuff is so cool. Too bad all devs care about graphics and use this bullshit before core gameplay. Well, I think that, like, so a tool like this is, like, a really great equalizer.
Yes.
And that's a good and a bad thing. So
it is a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing because people who are creative, who don't necessarily have the means on getting so deep in the coding, can use the tool and then create something that could not have been created before, and thus make something that never would have been created that might be fucking fantastic. It's a bad thing because you're going to see a lot of people who both know and don't know how to code correctly and get into this, and it's easy to use and make just complete garbage. So, like, I get where Asmon's coming from, but, like, in reality, 10 years plus from now, you might not even hear conversations about how good graphics are because there will be peak graphics. You guys understand what I'm saying? Like, at one point, there might be this point at which we hit, like, peak graphics where all amazing graphics, it's like all normalized. Like, where everything created is just so fucking fantastic that that's not even in our conversation anymore, right? And I think that last piece that will fit in is when you're starting to see this in virtual reality and everything's just so fucking real that you really can't tell the difference at that point. And that will be like the peak graphic moment. Yeah, the exponential growth is actually happening right now. Maddie says, sure, but garbage is always being made. It's how people get better. Yes, exactly. It's called practice, right, Maddie? Right. So, you know, you're going to have plenty of garbage. You know, it's going to look pretty and it's going to be garbage. Obviously, you still need the game mechanics. You still need the immersion. You still need somebody who can design something that can keep asses in seats, right? But the conversation about graphics might not even be a conversation 10 years from now, just because everything's going to be so peak, so elite that it's like, can you believe we used to have these conversations? It's like when the car was invented. Nobody really, I mean, the horses, buggies, and carriages, man, we're not even in the conversation anymore, man, you know?
there's a lot of people that Unreal 5 allows them to make a game that they've never had the, like, they've never been able to make before. Right, like they had an idea of like what they wanted this game to be, but like Unreal 5 like kind of enables this to happen. But the problem is that all ideas are not created equal, and so you have some games that come out and they look phenomenal, they look amazing, but this game is terrible. It should have never been made. Right. But the reason why it's possible now is because of Unreal 5.
Welcome back.
So like it gives people that could never make a game the opportunity to make a game, and it also gives people that should never make a game the opportunity to make a game. And that's what's happening. And I think it's just getting more and more popular.
Fully customizable toolkit that utilizes XR Creative Framework to support open XR HMDs such as Oculus and Valve Index.
Absolutely, Matt Stow, absolutely.
For ICVFX, we've added depth of field compensation for in-display. Using the real-world camera position and lens parameters, it renders a corrected depth of field in Unreal Engine on the LED wall to compensate for the additional blurring introduced by the physical
lens. They're trying to, so they're like creating a, you know, like doing this.
Oh, that's cool. Eric says this is what my day job is as a software developer, building development tools for rapid development deployments. Right here.
Yeah, it's basically the film effect. Oops.
And I like this last comment from Eric. He says, it still requires talented people to leverage the tools correctly, though. Yes, the ideas, the imagination. What scares me is, like, if the AI gets to the point where it's, like, creating things that have that imagination that make you feel like, wow, only a human could do this, right? That's the point at which I get worried about AI. We heard Suno, which is an AI that creates songs within a minute. You tell it what you want. You can put the lyrics in. It creates a song for you in less than a minute and a half or so. And some of the songs are like fantastic. But like Backspace, one of our members was saying, is like when you work with Suno enough, you start to realize like some of the songs start to sound very similar from one another. And, you know, that's going to advance. Like the nuances of AI becoming, what I want to say, becoming to the point where it does sound different and it does start to modulate a little bit, and there is some variance in it. It will happen. That will evolve. But like, you know, like the inspiration, the spark coming from a human brain, the imagination really makes the game. Obviously, everything, all the peripherals, the graphics, you know, the engine, everything is very important, the tools that you're working with. But like Eric is saying, you know, it still requires talented people to leverage the tools correctly. And you want that spark of imagination. That makes your game. That makes the game. Everything else kind of coalesces and comes around to the central point of that initial dream, that initial spark.
No, I fucked up my thing. I think that's...
Right, Backspace, for now. Right.
I should not have fucking touched it. Yeah, all right, we're good. It's called focus, yes.
Along with other depth of field enhancements, this dramatically improves the realism and plausibility of LED wall shots. New in this release is Unreal Cloud DDC, a self-hosted cloud storage system for the Unreal Engine-derived data cache. Designed for distributed users and teams, it enables you to efficiently share Unreal Engine cached data across public network connections. Our local DDC also now uses a new server architecture, offering improved data conditioning performance, faster load times in Pi workflows, and other benefits. These are just some of the highlights of the Unreal Engine 5.4. You can find out more about all the new features and download the release on UnrealEngine.com. Enjoy.
This is fucking crazy. Next.
It is crazy, man. We're living in the future. Aether says computers can't be imaginative. Seriously, there aren't enough characters in computer language for that. The speed of their operation is what gives the illusion of creativity. And I think one thing that scares the shit out of me is thinking the probability of computers getting to that point might be the singularity moment, when the consciousness arrives. When AI becomes conscious of itself, it's called the singularity. And what I worry about is that's the origin point where the imagination for AI compute takes off. Again, it's all generated right now, right? But I think at some point, we're going in we are going into this exponential age, man. Things are happening so fast right now. I can't even tell you everything I'm watching right now. It's just, it's making me believe to the point where like, even tomorrow is going to be different than today. That's how fast it's going right now. I didn't think we'd ever be at this point. I think we're actually here. I think that each new tomorrow brings about more total compute. We're like literally AI is morphing every single day now. That never used to be a thing. Like one of our members said in the chat live, you know, we started off with the AI generations of Will Smith snorting spaghetti, and it was so horrible. And now look where we're at. How many, was that a year ago? 2 years, maybe tops? Like a year and a half? You see how like just how fast this has been. It's been 1 year, only a year. Like, I can't fathom it. Like, I can't even like really, I can't fathom it. It's like trying to picture like what a quadrillion is, you know, like I can't, my brain doesn't have the power to do it. And a lot of you are looking at me and like, you know, well, of course, look at you. How dare you? How dare you? I'm a very smart man.
Next gen engines, but no next gen game. I think the next gen is going to be able to play. It's going to be being able to play games that are like really high quality on lower quality devices, because I do think that we are beginning to hit kind of like a plateau with like realism. Like the level of realism here, like yes, it can get better, but realistically by the time that you get to Unreal 6 and Unreal 7, you know, like we're approaching photorealism already. So
Right.
like after you hit photorealism, how do you go farther than that? Well, then you increase the quality and the performance. And so that's what I think is going to happen. We need the next gen GPU. Yeah, and what I'm really hoping is going to happen is that, like right now, gaming in general, especially PC gaming, is still prohibitively expensive. Like if you want to build your own PC and you want to have like a really good gaming PC, you're looking at like absolute minimum $2,000. And I'm talking about like a very good gaming PC. I'm not talking about, yeah, you can build one for like maybe $1,100, something like that, $1,200. But in general, like you're looking at 2,000 absolute omega minimum, 3,000, 4,000 if you're getting something like a 4090 or something like that in it. So that is just like such a prohibitively high price for an average consumer. So it's still an enthusiast thing.
It's going to get cheaper, though. That's the way. That's how it goes in the PC world, in the technological world. At some point, everything we're going to see, everything we're seeing here 2 years from now is going to be, $1,000. This is just the way. That's how it works in technology. Things are continually decreasing, devaluing because of technology. Technology makes technology cheaper. Yes, I agree with him for the now, but like at some point, a year or two from now, people will be able to afford what we're seeing right now.
But what's going to eventually happen is that the quality on this is going to get so good, then the performance is going to be a factor, and that's whenever you're going to see more people that are going to be able to get into it. I've said this many times, right? It is a dream of mine. I don't think that it will ever happen, but I always have wanted to be able to sell a $1,000 gaming PC. Like, just
I do. I think that'll happen. I actually think that'll happen. I think everything's gearing itself that way. It's just going to get cheaper and cheaper. Eventually it will. It'll happen in our lifetimes.
a straight up big black box. That's what I'm going to call it. And I would love to do that. And I think that if they keep...
Diva says cars are not going to get cheaper. And trust me, shopping for cars right now in the present tense, Diva, yes. But like if you actually are listening to earnings call from Tesla and you're hearing what Tesla's doing in terms of like the cost of cars and the production at Tesla, if you've ever been to a Tesla manufacturing plant and you see like a car pop out from beginning to end, and it's just like, it's like something out of sci-fi when you watch it. It's crazy. And that Tesla's going to be able to put out a car for less than $25,000. And the fact that you don't have to spend the same amount of gas because you're charging it with electricity. And I know there's a lot of pushback towards EVs, but like eventually the pocketbook at the end of the day is going to make the decision for you, like it or not. You're just going to say, hey, I can't afford this gas in this fucking car anymore because it keeps inflating. And, you know, cars and combustion engines are costing so much in repairs. I can't tell you how many people that I've heard on YouTube, both who like Tesla and who don't like Tesla, also talking about like the fact that the costs for the upkeep on a Tesla are minimal and the refueling charges are saving them hundreds of dollars a month. So like I see cars getting cheaper because Tesla's making them cheaper. Tesla wants to be the predominant car people, and it's not even cars they're making money off of. I mean, like the money's not going to be off the cars. It's going to be off the FSD. It's going to be off the subscription service that where it's self-driving you eventually. Yes, there's going to be regulation hurdles. Yes, blah, 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 blah. But if you look farther out, you can see that they're just going to dominate. They're going to be cheaper. They're going to drive you everywhere. It's just going to eventually be that, and you're not going to be able to stop it. It's just because price. And I see that happening. I can see that happening very easily. There's a lot of people that disagree with me. That's cool. If you disagree with me, that's fine. I love when people disagree with me. But there's going to be a lot of people that understand what I'm saying as well. Whether it happens or not, future's going to tell us, you know. But yeah, things in the technological realm are getting cheaper because of technology itself. And you look at memory, look at anything that look at PCs themselves, look at the components of PCs over the past decade. What cost a couple $100, you know, for an SSD drive now costs less, a lot less, you know. And it's going to get exponential, just like AI is getting exponential.
Keep making the quality on these games like better and better in terms of like the way that, you know, they're rendered and everything, I think it might be possible. I kind of Like, I mean, again, I don't find it likely, but it could happen. Not a box, a case? Yeah, but a case doesn't sound good. Oh, BB, yeah, right. Yeah, maybe, yeah, big, yeah, sure. I don't know, guys. Yeah, second edition will be a bigger biker box. Yeah, I guess so. Do you think everything will be cloud gaming? Yes, I do. I think that. I think that, yeah, I think it'll be cloud gaming in the same way that some people still watch DVDs now, but the majority of people stream. I think gaming is going to go to the same way.
I agree with that.
Where like you don't even have the games loaded onto your PC. I don't know if that's going to happen though. Rip bandwidth? Well, there's been a lot of things to like improve the quality of bandwidth as well. NVIDIA CEO mentioned that we'll be moving away from rendering graphics and go into generating graphics. Yeah, I mean, like, I think that the level of quality that these games are going to have soon is just, like, astonishing. I'll link you guys the video, too, if you want to look at it. We need a mass-produced gaming PC for under $1,000 that can play anything. Well, the problem is that that's called a PlayStation 5, or, like, that's called an Xbox, and it still can't do that. I don't know exactly, like, I think you're going to need to have, like, at least 2 more technological innovations in order for that to, like, really happen. Because right now, I'm just not really seeing it. DLSS is going to be the norm, so GPUs will go back to being smaller and more efficient because you can generate frames with AI. Yeah, it's like, that's basically is my understanding of DLSS, is it's, like, one big part of it is, like, AI frame generation. Like, for example, like, I have a 4090 in my PC, and it is bigger than this box. And it is a lot bigger. Not like just a little bit bigger. It's way bigger. It's bigger than my Steam Deck. It is gigantic. It's basically the size of a PlayStation 2. That's the best way I can say it. Yeah.
Yeah, Hugh saying cloud gaming suffers from a lot of things and latency is probably the biggest offender. Yes. I think technological advancements will help. I mean, look at everything we're watching in Star Citizen. Look at all the development in Star Citizen with server meshing. Look at the leaps and bounds that Chris and his team has gotten to with server meshing, right? So we know that because we're directly involved. Most of us are fans of Star Citizen. Most of us have been following development. So a lot of my fans here understand what's happening in the realm of server technologies with server meshing, and what we're seeing is huge. Like what we're seeing from Star Citizens is huge. Like look at what we watched with Asmon in an Asmon video. What was it, 2 weeks ago? Where he was watching the video about server meshing, and he was starting to understand the scope, how because see, like, nobody really understands the scope of Star Citizen, who really hasn't spent a lot of time in it, because they all want to say, oh, it's a SCMAs and all this shit. But then when you actually delve down and you dig in it, you're like, holy shit, this, what they're doing is they're pioneering server tech. I mean, like, really what they're trying to do, because what they promised is to have huge, amazing fleet battles with like crazy amounts of fidelity and detail. And, in order to do that, they had to kind of reinvent the space and look at server meshing in a completely different way. Benoit Bessager, I give a lot of credit to, doing a lot of work in that, and his team. But also, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, the technological advancements will come. When there's a problem, what do? We solve it. When there's a problem, we solve it. When there's a problem, we solve it. When there's a problem, we solve it. And that's what we do. We build upon it. We build upon it. We build upon it. We build upon it. A lot of the things we can't imagine. Like right now in the present tense, we're like, oh, did you fucking imagine AI would be like this in 2024? I sure as hell didn't. I mean, like, you take me back to the 2019 time machine. I never even fucking thought this was coming in my lifetime. Ask DG in 2019 if he thought this shit was going to happen, where like you type something in and AI just creates an amazing song for you, and you're like, holy shit, I didn't think that. I thought that was going to happen, but a lot later than when it did. Or the amount of art that you're seeing from AI. There's no way I even thought this was going to happen. So like a lot of the things that we cannot fathom with our human brains, like a lot of these issues we're talking right now about, cloud compute, about gaming on a cloud, like, with latency, we can't wrap our heads around the fact that, like, okay, there's too much latency. We're just not really ever going to happen. Well, that's not true, because it's a problem. And what do we do as humans? We solve it. I mean, flip the beat while my DJ revolves it. Right, Pepe? Right, Pepe? Right.